Hey folks, this is Synthesis Movement. I'm Ken Jenkins, the physical therapist that convinced your math teacher to quit her job and pursue jiu-jitsu full time. This is Jessie Torelli. She is our wonderful special education and jiu-jitsu practitioner. Her partner is a math teacher, or used to be. She might still be again at some point, but right now she's a champ. What we're going to do today is the Spinal Primer. And if there's nothing else that you learn from Synthesis Movement, if there's nothing else that you take away from this, from me, this is the piece that I want you to try, I want you to use, I want you to do it every day. This is the thing that I have used with a 78-year-old golfer and a 12-year-old soccer player, with a WWE superstar and a Delta Force specialist, all right? It works across the board, and it's one of the most valuable things that I found to integrate spinal health, diaphragmatic health and utilization, get the deep front line working, get the red nucleus working, get all the cerebellar functioning going on. It's amazingly powerful, and it only takes a couple of minutes a day. And it's the least equipment design that I could accomplish. It's the most efficient and effective program that I have come up with, and I give it to pretty much every single one of my patients. So, without further ado, I'm gonna demonstrate, you're gonna show it, we're gonna refine it, and then you're gonna activate it at home, all right? We're gonna implement it. So, I'm gonna start laying down, okay? We love that. We're gonna start from the ground up and the spine out. So before anything else is moving well, we have to make sure the spine and the skull and the spinal cord all feel great. So I'm gonna lay down and relax. I'm gonna follow my thumb out to the side and up towards the ceiling. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm not holding my breath while I do this. So I'm gonna breathe in and breathe out. And I'm gonna spiral over and flop on my back. We're gonna do this little floppy fish maneuver. My hand is the first thing that moves, my head follows, and my feet are the last thing that move back into center line. We'll go both ways 3 or 4 times, and then we'll do the same thing with our legs. So I'll look over my shoulder, I'll reach with my leg. As it touches down, I'll reach out, breathe out, and flop over. We'll look back where we're going, reach across our body, breathe out, flop over. All right, that's our first motion. Our second motion, we're gonna follow that spine rotation. We're gonna fix the upper body a little bit. So I'm gonna slide my hand out, reach towards that with my leg while I look away, and then we'll drive it to the ground with both hips, lifting off the ground. We'll alternate sides, slide, reach, lift, drop, return. Our third piece in our little animal series, we've got the floppy fish, we've got the scorpion. We're gonna add a little cobra. So I'm gonna bring my shoulders down and back, my chest up and forward. I'm not pressing so much as I'm pulling through. Then I'm gonna breathe in the middle, breathe out to the side. While I look for my heel, I'll come back in, breathe it in through my nose, breathe out strong to my look to the side. We'll alternate back and forth. Again, 3 or 4 each way. Jesse, show us how it's done. Follow the thumb, yeah, turn your thumb out to the side. Come back to center. Great. Reach that hand out to the side. Look for your thumb with your eyes. Great. We always want to follow the thumb with the eyes. We'll get into the science of this when we get our little explanation videos going, but just know that we want to follow the whole system as one piece. Then she's going to reach that thumb up towards the ceiling, she's going to follow it, and she's going to flop over. The legs are following last. She'll reach up towards the ceiling. Her head's going to come off the ground while she reaches up. Then she's going to reach across her body, flop on over. We'll alternate sides here. We're doing some fancy cerebellar, hippocampal communication stuff between the motor cortices, but for all intents and purposes, we just want to make sure that we're balanced out. We want to make sure the spine is rotating both directions, and if there's any issues, we want to recognize that here, rather than when we start putting weight on the body. Does look good? Does feel good? So, that's our upper floppy fish. We're gonna do a lower floppy fish. So she's gonna look over her shoulder where she's going. She's gonna reach with her opposite leg across her body. Her leg moves first, so her arms move last. She'll come back just the same way, looking where she's going, kicking across. Ooh, let's do it that way. We'll work on it. She's gonna look this way, she's gonna kick across. She's gonna lift her head first, reach across. Oh, I see, the arms coming up a little bit. So come back this way. We'll fine tune this on the fly, team. Her arm is coming up a little bit earlier than the rest of her body. So what we want to make sure of is the arm stays down, the head comes up. She's going to look where she's going. Then you'll reach with your leg. So the leg's a little early there. See how much better the spine rotates that way? You feel the difference? Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure the head leads the motion, then the leg follows the motion. So that's our floppy fish. We'll follow that up with a scorpion. She's going to have one arm out to the side. One arm is tucked in tight to her body, with that elbow pointed up at the ceiling. She's going to slide that hand across the mat. You're pretty rotation-y. And then she's going to drive through her hips to lift her hips off the ground. Come on back down. We'll alternate sides again. As she comes this way, she's going to slide this hand out. She drives through both heels to lift the hips off the ground, and then she comes back down. And we're tying the breath to this, so as she drives through the hips, drives through the heels, she's breathing out. You can't see her, you can't hear her. She's got a nice, easy, controlled breath here. Maybe a little bit more loud, a little louder in your ears. Great. We'll finish up this little trio with our cobra. So she's gonna reach out in front of her first. She's gonna slide those arms underneath her to establish this elbows down the middle. You come all the way out, don't you? Mm-hmm. All right. We're gonna start at the elbows. So she's gonna pull her elbows back into my hand like she's creating tension down her back. And that's gonna pull her chest up and forward, okay? From here, she's gonna take a big deep breath in. She's gonna breathe out and rotate to the side, looking for her heel. She'll breathe in as she comes back to center, and we'll continue that kind of alternating breath into the middle, out to the side, looking at each heel about 3 or 4 times. You can see that she's got a little bit more flexibility. We've been working on this pattern for a while now, so she's able to get quite a bit taller. If you're starting off, you'll probably be down at the elbows, down at the forearms, a little bit closer to the ground. Feel good? Mm-hmm. All right, let me tag in. We'll show the next 3. The next 3 that we're gonna do are our 3 bears. You know, we wanna go and check out their cottage, make sure that they're comfortable sleeping. So we're trying to get in the right mindset. So our bear position, we have our knees stacked underneath of our hips, our hands right underneath of our shoulders, and we're just gonna pull the knees away from the ground so we got a nice flat back. We should be able to set a piece of plywood on there and it'd be nice and level, all right? So from here, we're gonna have Papa Bear. He's gonna shrug his shoulders forward and back. If we didn't have the ground underneath of us, this would look like we were just lifting the hands up and down with the shoulder blade moving, everything else staying rigid. The first thing that everyone wants to do is they want to bend this elbow, all right? We're keeping the elbow not locked out, but just kind of a soft, active elbow, but it's not changing as we go up and down. Now, Mama Bear, she's gonna give us the Cardi B motion, all right? Tailbone is gonna tuck under, tailbone is gonna lift up. Look like a happy dog sad. And then finally, Baby Bear is into that breakdancing scene, so he's gonna come down, tap the side of the hip, come back to neutral, sweep across, tap the side of the hip. That's our 3 bears. We're gonna see what that looks like if you don't do it every day, which is nice today. So she's got a nice flat back here. The shoulder blades are dropping down around the rib cage and then wrapping towards the ground to recover that position. You got a nice little shake there? Yeah? A little shake. Now we're gonna try a little bit of a hip motion. The biggest thing here is this is not a cat-cow. We are not looking to get all this motion. Give me like a cat-cow pattern, like mostly spine. Yeah. So we're not looking for that cat-cow pattern where it's mostly the thoracic and lumbar spine. We're actively looking for low lumbar and pelvis sacral motion. So they should be coming from just the hips here, lifting that piece. And then last but not least, she's gonna kind of pivot to the side, drop those hips down, and tap. And you can see where she's kind of swinging off to the side. As we get better and better at this, the spine stays more and more in midline, and we're just dropping down through that pattern, using most of the pelvis and low back to articulate that motion. We'll get a lot of oblique input, a lot of transverse input, right? Yeah, can confirm. All right. Moving on from there, we've got the down dog series. This one, If you can't hear me as well, I'll articulate this a second time as Jesse goes through it. But we're going to push up from our bear position into a downward facing dog, trying to get the head through the arms, trying to get the butt up nice and tall, trying to get the heels as close to the ground as we can. From here, I'm going to alternate. I'm going to look through my armpit. I'm going to drop my opposite elbow down and try and tap it on the mat. We're intentionally rotating the spine here, bringing it out, keeping those legs fixed to the ground, and moving through. We'll follow that up. We'll go from the elbows to the ankles. We're going to reach across the body. We're going to tap the opposite ankle. We can work our way up the arm, down the body to these ankle points. So if you're just tapping the opposite hand, that's great. We can work our way through that. Wherever is reasonable and approachable for you today, it's a great place to start. Ultimately, though, we want to be able to tap the opposite ankle without shifting off to the side. And last but not least, we're going to try and bend one knee, bring that down to the ground. The whole opposite side of the body should stretch out nice and long. Being active in this downward facing dog position. Woo. So Jesse's got great calves, great ankles, very mobile. So she's able to get this position, but if you're not all the way heels down today, that's fine. We're still getting a lot out of this. And as you're rotating here, you're gonna look through the armpit, yeah. So we're intentionally kind of getting that cervical rotation, upper thoracic rotation, all kind of tied together. So those systems kind of integrate and articulate as a unit, rather than each one kind of being separated out. She's got good motion. Notice a little bit of sway to the hips. We kind of shift side to side, more on one shoulder than the other. Is this the achy shoulder? Yeah.
They're both achy.
They're both achy. And last but not least, we've got these knee taps. We're going to drive that knee down to the mat. Try to keep the opposite knee straight. Yep. Good. And she's traveling forward quite a bit more than I was. That's fine. Part of what we're doing here is teaching the side of the body, teaching the shoulders how to stabilize while we're getting that motion from the hips. This is going to translate to our overhead squatting positions, to a lot of our jiu-jitsu practice positions. We're going to be able to get more mobility through the shoulders and hips when we teach them how to articulate in these patterns independently as well as collectively. That was great. Thank you, man. Now, we finish up the spiral primer, and this is probably the piece that is the toughest for people to integrate. We're going to get into this lunge compass. So I come out of my downward facing dog, I step through, I'm in my nice tall lunge position. From here, I'm gonna travel north, south, east, and west. So I'm gonna travel north by just dropping out over this ankle, getting a nice little stretch. We can play around with our position here, get a little bit of soft motion in the ankle and the back hip. We're gonna sit back to our heel, straighten out that front leg, and then we're just gonna fold over that, trying to get all the way down to that knee. That may not be a thing today, all right? We're gonna go west, throwing that elbow against the inside of the knee, and we're just gonna open up, using the breath to help us get to that end range. And then we'll grab the outside of the knee, we'll lift up the back foot, capture that with our hand, and then we'll take a big deep breath. If you're feeling kind of stiff and sticky here in the spine, don't worry. When we get into our core control series, we're gonna revisit this spinal rotation with a little bit more impact, a little bit more emphasis, and a little bit more constraint, so we'll really get the spine rotating. This is just that first approach to getting the spine really rotating under load, getting some in-range activation, feeling good there. We can do a couple of different shifts here. We can just easily switch feet, or as we're feeling really good, we can use this hip to hit a little 90-90 pivot. We can bring this leg back, settle down, pivot across the heels, and drive back up to the other leg. It's kind of up to you what you're feeling. I will say this is the one that my WWE Superstars endorses being one of the best hip openers, best little series to kind of get their lower body prep for action. Sitting through, sitting down, pivoting across, and driving up. Show us how it's done. I'm gonna get all the way folded over. We're close, almost there. We're gonna drive forward, we'll go north. So she's got great ankle mobility. We'll get out over that ankle. If that feels a little icky, a little scratchy, a little sketchy, then we can back off that range, but it feels great for her. We'll drop one arm down to the mat. She'll open up towards the ceiling, using that breath to get a little bit more oomph. And then we'll come back nice and tall, upright, reaching across the outside of that knee, trying to capture that back, just your hand on the outside of the knee. Yes, and your hand here. Yes, ma'am. Grab that back foot. And then we'll use these two anchor points to help get a little bit more rotation to the trunk. How's the hamstring? No cramps?
Just barely.
Just a little cramp. The most common complaint here is this back hamstring wants to cramp. So if it does, you can just lay down. You're already on the ground. You'll be safe. And then we'll switch sides. And we'll just do all the same motions. Traveling south, folding over the leg, coming north, driving out over the ankle, coming back to neutral, dropping the elbow down to the inside of the knee, opening up the spine, and finishing up nice and tall, hand on the outside of the knee, backhand catching the foot. Maybe that's the one. And then torquing on that. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take it from the top. We're gonna run through this whole series. I'm gonna have Jessie be our demonstration model. And the point that we're trying to drive home here is this is top in 5 minutes that you can, if you really stretch this out, yeah? This is something we can do every single day. We don't need any equipment for it. We don't need a ton of space for it. Our little, 5x3 mat, 5x4 mat is plenty of space. Your bed works just fine for most of these movements. And we can integrate this into our daily practice, and it's gonna be one of the most valuable pieces that I can offer to you. So, without further ado, she's gonna start with the upper extremity, floppy fish. She's balling her thumb out to the side, breathing as she rolls over, follows that over with the legs. She'll reach up to the ceiling, lifts the head, reaches across. You gotta talk to that right side. We'll switch arms. We'll follow that arm out to the side. We'll follow it over the back. Do the same thing, reaching up to the ceiling, reaching across the body. It looks great. We'll do 2 or 3 of those. We'll do the lower legs. Reaching across the body, flopping over. Lifting the head first. Come back, come on back. Don't get excited. There we go. Looking across the other side, reaching across the body. Flopping over. Looking to where she's going. Reaching with the leg, coming back. There, we've got the spine moving, we've got the legs and the arms moving. We'll go to our scorpion. She's gonna look away from her hand. She's gonna kick her foot to her hand as much as she can. She's gonna drive through her hips to lift off the ground, come back down. Swapping sides, kicking over, driving through the heels, lifting the hips off the ground. We'll go to our cobra. Yes, thank you. Yeah. You're gonna breathe in, reach the side. I'm just gonna let her run. She doesn't need my instruction. She's done this a million times. We'll just narrate. She's breathing in, breathing out as she looks for her heel, rotating side to side. We hit 3 or 4. We come into our bear position. We're gonna pop a bear. 3 or 4 of each. We get our mama bear, tailbone tuck, and then we get baby bear, swapping those hips side to side. And then we'll push up into our downward facing dog. We'll do our elbow taps, looking through the armpit. Fantastic. 3 or 4 on each side. We'll tap our ankles, reaching back, maintaining stability through the trunk. and we'll tap our knees. Great. We come into our lunge position. We'll go north, drive the knee out over the ankle. Fantastic. North and south. Checking out both ranges. We'll go east and west, opening up to the side. Fantastic. And we'll throw in a little hip 90-90 pivot to change direction. Go ahead and switch.
Which way am I going?
Hit that 90-90 swing out that way. Yeah. This one here. Swing. Yeah. Yeah. Glide back. Glide forward. Come to neutral. We'll go east, we'll go west. So in short order, we've addressed all the pieces that we need to address, got all the motion that we're looking for through the hips, through the body, through the spine. We're feeling right, feeling ready to do some stuff.
Great.
Right? Really can't tell you how much I use this one with pretty much every athlete. I think the biggest compliment that I've had is we have a young athlete here, 19 years old, absolute stud. Went to a competition, we did a 30 cal assault bike, 30 clean and jerk, 135, got a little grace in the middle there. And then he hit a 300-pound clean and jerk. Fresh, easy, no big deal. We did this warm up for the first time in class one day, and he came up to me afterward and he said, that's the best that I felt and the most prepared I felt for lifting, for sport, for activity that I can remember. Not only does he have that to say, but my 78-year-old golfer who's been doing his hour-long physical therapy practice for years and years, cut out everything else that he was doing and just does this a couple times a day and says that it's the best that he's felt since he was 50. So if it works for them, I have a reasonable hope that it'll work for you too. Hope you enjoyed it. Join the movement. Share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. All right, folks, that was part of the synthesis movement system. It is a continuum, so we start at the beginning, the spiral primer, and we work our way along. We'll have more videos in the future, pending feedback and support. If you find something that you need answers to, if you have a burning desire to know more, hit us up in the comments. Like, subscribe, and share all the stuff. Use the algorithm to our advantage to get the word out that this is the program that is helping people feel better. If you found this video useful, and if you can afford it, go to patreon.com/synthesismovement to help us continue this program, continue this project. Join the movement. Let's get people moving well towards health.